I'm me, you're you, and this is Wiggly's Book Club, episode 015. Wiggly's Book Club is brought to you every other week as part of the GiantMediaBall.com network. Check the website for show schedules. Wiggly's Book Club is brought to you free for no money and recorded live in Sloppy Joe's Bar in scenic downtown Easton, Pennsylvania. Giant fight! That's something that happens. Without further ado, let us now go live to Wiggly and Sloppy Joe's Bar for a reading of the 1977 A Golden All-Star Book classic, ISIS.
Cleaner number 19038.
Okie dokie. Here we go. Despite my better judgment, I'm going to read another one of those. A Golden All-Star book today. This one's going to be ISIS, which I already said at the top of the show. Last week, I didn't even get to tell the story of Gabe Kaplan versus Robert Conrad in Battle of the Network Stars. Conrad challenged... Conrad, I don't know if you know, he was from Baba Black Sheep and, knocked the battery off my shoulder, I dare you. So he was in the ass end of a relay race, I guess, and Gabe Kaplan was in the ass end of a relay race. When you pass the baton, and Kaplan won. Mr. Carter won. And so Conrad said, this is bullshit. He's complaining to the ref. So Conrad challenged Gabe Kaplan to a one-on-one race. And who won? Gabe Kaplan. So Robert Conrad had to eat crow. And that was on Battle of the Network Stars, which used to happen. That used to be a thing. People from... television, or maybe even, no, I don't even think movie people were, I think it's just TV people, would have Olympics type events against each other. Really weird. Then they had the Hanna-Barbera Laugh Olympics, which was the Hanna-Barbera characters having Olympics against each other. And I told this story on one show before, but it's so long ago, I don't know. But like the wacky races, which would be different Hanna-Barbera characters racing against each other, and I think there was even a space race, maybe something like that, and the Laugh Olympics. I would always like, who's gonna win? Who's as if no one knew the outcome of these things. As if it wasn't a I knew it was a cartoon. It was just weird. Okay, so today I'm gonna have some of this here. I just poured way too much. Sparkling Ice Lemonade. Classic lemonade, 0 calories with vitamins and antioxidants. I don't know who makes this. Somebody. Mountain Spring Water, sparkling ice. I guess sparkling ice. Put about a shot and a half of Gordon's London Dry Gin. I made this a couple weeks ago. And I'm going to put it in today because now I started telling what I'm doing. And I got some Angostura aromatic bitters. Just give a dash or two of that. Now this is on the rocks, and here's my, I'm going to give that a stir. Now I'm stirring this properly. You make the Vulcan live long and prosper. Put the stirrer in the middle of the live long and prosper and face your knuckles towards the glass and then swirl around like that. And that's how you're supposed to stir a stirred beverage. And I don't garnish this with anything. I don't do any of that fancy stuff. Let me take a swig. Now that is good. And continuing in my vein of no more stink beer, let's see what I have today. By the way, don't drink, kids. Okay, here we go. This is by Saucon Creek. It's got a picture of a green Ultimate Warrior with a picture of a green Hulk Hogan. He's half Hogan, half Macho Man. He's got the Macho Man sunglasses and the Macho Man beard, but he's got the Hulk Hogan yellow headband and yellow trunks and and those boots, and he's jumping off the top rope, gonna give the green Ultimate Warrior. Oh, they're pieces of hops. You see, pieces of hops. I gotta get a coaster. Okay. And oh no, I gotta open this. Wait. Okay. Pieces of hops, and so it's called Hop Suplex Ale. Although there's no suplexing going on. This was a black and red lid, so I don't know how much that costs. Hopsy. Wow, that's hopsy. Wow. Okay. Mighty Isis. You know, I should just do it. Wiggly's Booze Club. Now, if you're an alcoholic or any type of addictive personality, please drink some juice instead of the hard liquor I'm drinking. And if you're an alcoholic or something else, please drink some type of liquid instead of the beer I'm drinking. Okay, so here we go. If you didn't tune in last time, this is a golden book, but to try and make it more adulty, more aimed at preteens, I guess. This would be a golden all-star book. 59 cents, this would have rocked you. This is number 6416, Isis. It just says Isis. And it has a picture of Mighty Isis from the television program, if you knew about that. But then the cover is actually a drawing of her. It looks like she's flying through some type of time tunnel, some type of rift in space-time. And she's carrying her on her shoulder some really scared fella with, I guess he's maybe in his 40s, probably around 48. Got a little bit of gray hair. He tucks his shirt into his jeans, and he also has a white belt on with a gold buckle, so you know what that means. I don't know. Then on the back cover, you got Isis, and boy, is she smoking. It's the one from the TV program. If you haven't watched those, I recommend you watch those. Both Shazam and Isis. Burp, by the way. Whoa. Oh, yuck. That's hopsy and lemonade-y. I hope I didn't just make sick in your sandals. Because they're pretty great. Because Isis and Shazam, and you know, Shazam's Captain Marvel, and you know, he has all these great villains and everything. But on the television, he would track down some kids that stole a bicycle. He would lift the back of a car up. That was because to get the guys that were stealing cars or selling cigarettes to kids. Same with Isis. Not very much in the way of supervillains. Isis, Golden Press, Western Publishing Company, Inc., Racine, Wisconsin, 1977. Filmation Associates, all rights reserved. Printed in USA, Golden Press, as I mentioned last week, and a Golden All-Star Book are trademarks of Western Publishing Company, Inc. That's right, because it was Filmation that actually brought you those two live-action gimmicks, and Filmation had Isis in cartoons as well, but she was part of a team, and I've talked about this before on other shows, 726, thank you, 726. Galactic, oh boy, forget it. I'll never remember right now. But it's a very funny team of characters that they put together, all like public domain characters and stuff like that, much like Defenders of the Earth. They had like Phantom and Flash Gordon and Doc Savage. Oh, no, they didn't have Doc Savage. It's somebody else. But, you know, it's all like public domain stuff, I believe. So here's Isis. Author Steve Skeets. Skeet. What was my card? I still got it on the Arnold Drake. Okay, so and then the illustrator's the same, Jack Sparling. He's not a bad artist, you know. He's definitely using a brush, and his proportions are great. He definitely, I would highly assume, it is my conjecture that he uses models, actual people models that he took photographs of, etc. Contents: 2, the Discovery; 14, the Bermuda Triangle; and 27, Hard Lesson. Well, there's a Discovery. Wait. I wonder if this is where she becomes Isis. I don't know. but it has an Egyptian word in it, and I don't know if I want to try to read that because it looks like a made up Egyptian word. So, oh, she fights a mummy in it. Yeah, I'll never get to the mummy. So let's go to the Bermuda Triangle. Oh my gosh, there's these like Roman centurions, except they have it looks like, man, that artwork looks like Kubert. That looks like Joe Kubert right there. That looks like Sergeant Rock. I bet this guy swiped some Sergeant Rock photos, and instead of like a gun or a club or something else, he put in their hands these swords, and they're melting. The swords are melting. It says, and like I said, they're obviously Roman or Greek type of outfits, but they're green, and their helmets, they have the side panels, but they look like a Sergeant Rock brain bucket. The soldiers saw their swords melt, twisting and bending, all out of shape. That's what it says here. And Isis doesn't really look like she's using powers, but her Isis amulet on her head is glowing, and her hand is sort of just, I don't know, as if it would be resting on a small child's head without the child. Do you still have a good clear blip on Warren Pease's plane? The chief's voice rattled the small screen room of the tracking station. Yep, it's still coming in strong, Lieutenant Robert Snow answered calmly in his mouthpiece. It's traveling. And very matter-of-factly, he read off the plane's speed, direction, and position. Now see, it had the ellipses, the triple dots, because the words that are missing in there are the words of the plane's speed and the direction and position. So that's actually how you use it when you omit something from something spoken, or mostly quotes from somebody. And the writer, although he's really trying, I don't know what type of thesis he's trying to write here for the kids. And this is, I got to tell you, these are in pristine condition from 1977. Much more, they're really nice condition. And it's because I never read them. It's too much. Plus, back then I was dyslexic, couldn't read, and couldn't see. I just wasn't drunk. And now I have all those. That is hopsy. Holy hops. Woo-hoo. I need the lemonade on that. Jesus. 12:05. That lemonade's good. I tell you, those bitters work really well. You need a little drop will do you. So I read the play. Now, so I assume this artist didn't know what type of, how you designate a plane's speed. Because remember, they didn't have Google in 1977, so you couldn't just look it up. You had to go to the library, check out a card, look at the Dewey Decimal System, and like that. And he probably didn't know about direction and position either. He might have. Longitude, latitude, and altitude. Good, keep me posted. Sergeant Pete Granger jotted down some readings on the clipboard he was carrying. I've never seen no... I forgot the voice I did for him. I've never seen no... Now I'm trying to go back to car. I've never seen the old man so nervous. Lieutenant, who is this yo-yo Warren Pease? Warren Pease. That's great. It's WARRENPEASE, Warren Pease. That's wonderful. And what's so dang special about him anyway? Warren Pease is the State Department's troubleshooting, roving diplomat. He has a special knack for sitting down with both sides in a dispute and making them see reason. Remember the Civil War in Pantagia? 8 days after he started talking with the rival leaders, there was a ceasefire. Somebody once said that if peace hadn't been around for the president to call on these last 10 years, we'd be in the middle of World War VI by now. And you're calling him a yo-yo? Well, if he stays on the course he's following right now, in 10 minutes, he'll fly smack dab into the middle of the Bermuda Triangle. Now, would anyone but a yo-yo do a thing like that? Come on, Pete. You don't believe all that baloney about the Devil's Triangle, do you? But even as he spoke, Lieutenant Snow was pressing the switch and opened the circuit to the chief's office. If you don't believe it, Lieutenant, why are you bothering the colonel about it? Just a precaution, that's all. This one I'm actually reading pretty well. 1439. I ain't going to make it through, I'll tell you that. This microphones, I got to figure out a way to... I need a head mic. Let's see. The colonel heard the news and seemed more agitated than ever. Keep watching. Let me know as soon as he reaches the triangle, was all he could think to say. He could just bet someone from the State Department would be on the phone in another minute or two. Every 15 minutes they called for a report on Peace's position. Colonel Mossbach was beginning to feel responsible for War and Peace. That if anything happened to him, it would be his fault. Can't wait to... Oh my gosh! And the next page is a picture of Hitler and everything. Whoa! Wow! And the UN and the guy on a red phone. 10 minutes later, he heard Lieutenant Snow report, cool and detached. The plane is entering the Bermuda. Colonel, it's gone. You mean we lost him? No, we didn't lose him. We were following him all the way, sir. He was traveling at the same speed, holding the same course. Then all of a sudden, he disappeared right over the Bermuda Triangle. War and Peace had been a pilot for 30 years, including World War II and Korea. He had flown in every kind of weather through the anti-aircraft flak, a hail of 15 caliber bullets with flaming engines, instruments that didn't register, controls that didn't work, but nothing like this had ever happened to him. The past, the present, and even short segments of some imagined future were swirling around inside his battered brain. Faces from his childhood, a teacher, a close companion, suddenly the face of a foreign minister hammering out the hard point of a peace treaty immediately melted before his eyes and became an Air Force buddy who was shot down over Berlin more than 30 years ago. It was several seconds before these visions began to settle down into some coherent pattern. There was the jangling telephone that jarred him out of a sound sleep. This morning, he thought. That was only this morning. Then he heard the voice of the assistant secretary shouting through the earpiece. Warren, listen! The peace talks began between Paranoia and Metacolps are breaking down. You know what that means? I know. It means a shooting war. But what's that have to do with me? You got to get down there and sit in on that meeting. Make them listen to reason. Why me, Cledge? Why me? Because you're the one man both General Morosco and President Carter will pay attention to. Their ministers had the treaty all worked out. Everyone was happy. But as soon as the two top men sat down together to sign it, all their hostility came right out in the open. Small as those two countries are, their war won't stay private very long. Okay, Cledge. I'm on my way. I hope I can pull it off. I'll call the airport and have them check out my plane. I'll have the BAC clear your lane right out of here. There'll be no delay. And Warren, good luck. The words good luck ran through War and Peace's brain like an echo, and with it, all the pieces of his life, so suddenly scrambled, seemed to be fitting back together. But before War and Peace had a chance to relax and believe that all was well, again he realized there were two things wrong. deadly wrong. For one thing, he had completely lost his way. He had no idea where he was. Now, I'm looking at that page that I know has Hitler on it, 1904. Hitler's getting ready to yell. But now Hitler has some type of, one of these Miss America ribbons around his chest area. I don't know what they call those that the dopes wear. And there's a plane going down in the background. There's a guy hitting his chutes, hitting his silk. There's another guy that I guess is his friend that died. It says, the past, the present, and even short segments of some imagined future were swirling around inside his battered brain. And then it shows, like I said, the UN symbol with the guy way up high. It was like, this is really some type of freak out going on here. And then it's War and Peace on the telephone, the red phone. He looks like he's in his dress blues. And the red phone has the rotary dial in the middle of the telephone, so that's interesting. But it's not like one of these newfangled telephones that had the touch button. The wider phones. It's a regular like old 1970s phone. One could say it's like a phone from 1977. Okay, now there's a picture of a plane, and this looks like a plane that can land on water. I can only see from the top, so I don't know exactly what plane it is. It's kind of weird. I'm not even going to speculate. The small island below looked like no archipelago he'd ever seen before. So there's an island down below him as well, where the plane's going. Plane looks like it's not doing so well. It's tilting towards the yaw. I don't remember right now. The small island below him weren't supposed to be there. They looked like no archipelago anywhere within 1,000 miles of here. None that he'd ever seen before. Worse, his engines had stalled and he was losing control of the plane. If he couldn't solve the problem number 2 in a matter of seconds, he wouldn't have to worry about the first problem at all. Colonel Mossbach was trying to contain his anger and frustration. Let me get this straight, Snow. Peace's plane showed no changes in course. That's right, sir. Its velocity was constant. No, this is a question, but it's no question mark. Its velocity was constant. Constant. Yes, sir. No change in altitude. No, sir. It was only plane and vessel in the area. There was nothing within 100 miles of it. In other words, there was absolutely no indication that this plane was all alone in the area, was in any sort of difficulty. No, sir. There was no failure in any equipment, even in... Why don't you just say, was everything okay? This guy's got to fill... There's no ads in here. Why's he got to make up all these words? We're not even at ISIS. 2237. I might hit ISIS by the time I get here. None, sir. As our equipment monitors show. Marvelous. Now I have to do it. Now all I have to do is wait for Washington to call. So I could tell him that with the help of the miracle of modern electronics, with the most sophisticated tracking equipment ever devised by man, we have managed to watch War and Peace disappear off the face of the earth. Tomorrow war will break out between paranoia and metaculpa. By next week, the whole world might be involved in it. Colonel, here's where Maggie can help. It was Anna. Oh, Colonel, here's where Maggie can help. It was Anna Litz. I wish it was Litschitz because I could pronounce it better. It was Anna Litz who spoke. Anna was a civilian attached to the military. She was in charge of the station's revolutionary computer, affectionately called Maggie, by everyone at the base. She had, in fact, been one of the brilliant experts who designed it. So complex was its conception and circuitry that it could be operated only by one of its creators. Burp, by the way, pardon me. So Anna had been assigned to accompany the computer to the station, to oversee its installation and to stay with it at least until she could train others. Anna, are you telling me that the machine is going to pull out our diplomat out of the hat? She was designed to find solutions to the most bizarre and baffling problems we can face. In fact, she can anticipate problems you and I can't even imagine. Anna did not even wait for Colonel Mossbach to respond. She was already feeding facts into the computer, probably like pressing the numeric key like in Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory. I am now telling the computer exactly what it can do with a year's supply of chocolate. No, she didn't say that. Instantaneously out came the solution in 4 letters, ISIS. The colonel almost exploded. We asked the electronic wizard how to find and bring back a diplomat whose airplane vanishes without a trace over the mysterious Bermuda Triangle, and the computer says the answer is ISIS? Anna, what kind of answer is that? What's ISIS? Well, he'd know now, I guess. What are we supposed to do? Wait, Colonel, I'll ask Maggie for details. Immediately, the computer's machinery began issuing a printout to the most concise, detailed information about the goddess, her history from ancient times to the present, including her current appearances, and the fact that she seemed to be located in Mid-City, and that there was some connection between her and the high school. That's right, she was I guess she was a teacher, but I think she taught science. Oh no, she was an archaeologist, so I don't know. I don't know. I don't think you have archaeology teachers in high school, but I can't recall right now. I got to go over watch an episode in 4 minutes. 26:07. Thanks. Okay. Between her and the high school. Anna, the colonel said, I don't believe a word of this. Besides, I don't understand a word of it. There's only one person in the whole world, that can explain any of it. That's you. So I'm sending you in our fastest airplane to Mid-City to find a goddess ISIS and have her bring back war and peace. He's sending Anna to find a goddess. That's awesome. Right there, I love it. I'm never going to get to the part where ISIS fights the military men or flies this other guy around. Oh, maybe that's why she's in a crazy vortex, because she's bringing him out of the Devil's Bermuda Triangle. That's a gateway to another world. Then he sank into his chair, and when Washington calls and I tell him exactly what has happened and what I've done, the Pentagon will send a delegation of generals in with white coats to come and carry me off. If you didn't know, the loony bin people with the nets would wear white coats and come and take you to the loony bins. I know you all know that from the cartoons. That is hopsy. I don't like hops beer, because it tastes a little bit like grapefruit. I like that. It's giving me a hop suplex ale. Don't drink, kids. Or if you're an alcoholic. Joshua's banner, I'm going to give you a chip. Joshua's banner at the end of our program. Joshua Banner, principal of Mid-City High, clasps his hands and looked back and forth from Cindy Lee to Andrea Thomas. As you know, ladies, sometimes certain duties are thrust upon us which are not wholly academic. Please, Mr. Barnes, said Andrea. We know you're going to ask us to do something. Of course we're going to do it. So you might as well tell us about it without a prelude. I mean, with those fucking go-go boots and the short skirt, man, the sky's the limit right there. 2840. She might change it to ISIS. I don't know. You might have to, go in a time machine and find out what happened. Go in the Bermuda Triangle. Police officer. Well, it's his class of 55 reunion. Bzzzt. It was the intercom. I thought someone was giving him the buzzer. It was the intercom. At first, Mr. Barnes tried to ignore it. Anyway, I'd like you to... And then, see, there's double dashes, which indicates a pause. But he couldn't complete he couldn't compete with the buzzer. He flicked the switch. Yes? Mr. Barnes, this young woman out here says it's important. No, urgent. No, critical. Something about World War III, unless we put her in touch with ISIS. Mr. Barnes, I don't know what she's talking about, but she's got identification papers that says she's on a special mission for the diplomatic service. And wait, you can't just go in there like that. The door burst, so you thought I was going to do some type of a female secretary. No, I fooled you. 29:54. Well, I got 3 seconds to finish it up here. The door burst open. Mr. Barnes hadn't had time to form any ideas with an expert to come through the door. With what to expect to come through the door. Burp. A picture of ISIS on the other side here, going through the clouds. She was falling faster and faster, it says. So evidently she's trying to fly over the Bermuda Triangle, and now she can't even fly over it. She's going to crash, and they're going to lose her on the radar. The door opened, didn't know what to say. Slender, dark-haired young woman, except for a certain urgency in her expression. She looked to be an altogether pleasant person, hardly the type to come bursting through closed doors into private offices. Mr. Barnes, I'm analyst. Here are my credentials. She held up a wallet with an ID card. Without any further introduction, she launched into her explanation for being there. There wasn't a moment's hesitation as she spoke. Her story was so well organized that her 3 listeners were never confused, never prompted to interrupt for a question. They believed every claim she made for the computer, even the incredible story of how it came up with the name ISIS and then directed her to Mid-City. Andrea especially was amazed at how this young woman had managed to deliver her message to the very person it was meant for. But of course, she didn't know. She didn't show her amazement. When Anna Litz had finished, Joshua Barnes said, "Fascinating, Miss Lintz. Listen, absolutely fascinating. There's only one trouble. I don't have the faintest idea how to get in touch with ISIS." "Maybe I can help, Mr. Barnes," Cindy chimed in. "She's helped me out a lot, lots of times. I'm sure I can think of a way to get word to her." Oh my God, 3205. We got to at least see ISIS change, you know. Once that happens, we know how it ends. She saves everybody. And she fights a bunch of Sergeant Rocks from ancient Greece. Trojans. Cindy gets in touch with her, that type of thing. This is Andrea, who is ISIS. "While you 3 are deciding how to reach ISIS, I'm going back to my room and prepare for the day's classes." Yeah, that sounds completely logical and believable. And you look just like her, except you have glasses on and a ponytail. Got the same fucking go-go boots when you turn in ISIS. Okay, anyway. Let's see here. Because she's got to see like the power of ISIS or something. The day's classes, Andrea said, as she slipped away, she could hear Cindy saying, "Just let me concentrate hard on the name ISIS. I believe we can contact her through mental telepathy." Oh, this one's got it all. This one's got it all, the frou-frou. No wonder kids believe in stuff like this. Should be watching Scooby-Doo instead. But I love the program, don't get me wrong. I mean, this is fantasy. But treating it like this is sort of confusing, I would imagine. And then to top it off, you had, books by noted people with a modicum of respect, like the fellow that did all the language translations, whose name escapes me, did a book on the Bermuda Triangle and all this other shit. So she's going to concentrate and summon Isis through telepathy. Andrea made for the nearest door, and as soon as she was alone outside the school, spoke the magic words, "Mighty Isis!" Speaking magic words, Andrea turns into Mighty Isis, transforming herself into that awesome figure. Seconds later, the Goddess Supreme was, that's awesome, Goddess Supreme was carried aloft by winds she had called forth to aid her. Yeah, that was always great when she started flying up. Same winds gusted into Principal Joshua Barnes' office. Cindy Lee rushed to the window and shut it. Her hands went out of the panel. Something in the sky caught her eye. "Isis!" she shouted. "It's Isis! She got my message!" "I'll have to call the tracking station right away," said analysts. "They'll be able to pick her up on the radar." See, I knew she was going to pick her up on the radar. I knew that was going to happen. And like I said, she falls in the Bermuda Triangle, it looks like. Then she fights a bunch of Sergeant Rock-looking guys with hairy arms and spears. And then she pulls War and Peace out of there. "The time portal is gone," Peace said. We'll never get back to our world." The words fall on deaf ears, blah, 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 blah. And blowtorch went out. Big smile. I've got blowtorch 1 on screen. I don't know. She got out of it. Back to me in the studio. No more of those books. Back to me in the studio. We hope that you've enjoyed tonight's reading of a Golden Book All-Star Book, Isis book. To own your own copy, I don't think they make these anymore. The management would also like to apologize. Tonight's super secret surprise celebrity guest, Louis Parker CK, could not be on the program. That appears to not be a real person. For Wiggly and the entire crew of the Wiggly's Book Club, I'm Wiggly, and remember kids, RIP. Reading is fundamental.